Hello and welcome to another episode of Startup Hustle Middle East. Today we're so excited because we have Wisam Amid here from Xische. So Wisam and I actually know each other from a long time ago, back in CAE. So I've been following his journey and Xische's journey for a while. So we're so excited to have him on board. So Wisam is the managing partner of Xische that operates across 6+ verticals and in 4 regions: UAE, Malaysia, Toronto, and New York. So he's here on the show to tell us a little bit about Xische and how they're involved in the startup ecosystem. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
That was a long intro. There's a lot more to say, but I'll let you do that.
No, thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Awesome.
I've known you for so long. It's good to be here and speaking about this, which I'm really passionate and excited about, as are you guys.
Great.
Xische is a collective where we work with governments, global brands, and startups to help them ideate, commercialize, and tell a story.
Okay.
So that's the best way I can introduce ourselves.
Okay.
There's so many things that can be done by so many of us, and it's always difficult to combine things together. Yeah. Just like how you and I are, we have varied interests.
Sure.
We could love to play guitar and at the same time go to the gym. We could be very good at analytic skills or something else. So we're a combination of things. We're not, you're not linear.
Yeah.
So it becomes difficult to put yourself into one bucket and say this is what we are and this is what we do. So there comes the term hybrid.
Okay.
Right? It's a hybrid philosophy, hybrid thinking. It's a term that my co-founder termed. Hybrid thinking, and how to take multiple facets of different things in life, apply it to business, and take it forward.
I think you've trademarked hybrid thinking.
We have, yes.
As well, right?
No way.
Yeah.
You trademarked hybrid thinking?
Trademark and service market back in 2004.
That's awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So can we say hybrid thinking in this podcast?
By all means, yeah.
We're allowed that.
Awesome.
So explain the hybrid thinking methodology.
Sure, by all means. I think it ties in really well with why the term came about and why we felt the need to trademark the service market. We set up in 99. Keep in mind that the internet came to the UAE in 1995. This is 4 years after the internet had come to the UAE. And at that point, starting out to sell digital services to somebody and to tell them, listen, stop doing your brochure and now come on to something called a CD-ROM or a DVD or an interactive disc or a website. I mean, a website was too early for 99, 2000, maybe 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
But in order to do that, it was difficult to tell them what we do. Our trade license back in the day was called New Media.
Okay.
New media essentially is new media. We had no clue how to classify it.
Yeah.
Right.
So we spent a lot of our time educating people. So you can imagine it was 90% educating and then 10% was our close rate.
Yeah.
To be able to get some work. Very difficult as a startup, very difficult to be able to sell your service in a new, emerging, forget technology, space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Actually, me and my dad launched a product in like 2001, 2002, which was an online classified site. Very similar to like what Dubizzle does now.
Right.
But, and we were giving people the opportunity to register for free, but like they were like, oh, we'll fax you the details. And even then, like it was so hard for them to understand or grasp that this might become important. So it was I can imagine how hard it must have been for you.
It's crazy. It's all about timing, right?
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. So back in the day when we were trying to convince, we realized that we were doing something else as opposed to what we were telling them we were selling. We were telling them we were selling them a website, a design, an interactive disc or a CD or something which is visually oriented or directed. But in reality, what we were doing was the underlying work, which was identifying the strategy, identifying what they do, helping them distill what they do into something very simple, and making something simple. Making something simple is very hard, very, very difficult. While we were doing that, we couldn't sell that as a service. And that's when hybrid came into being, which is this is what we do, which is a combination of all of these things.
Yeah, because people don't want to pay for thinking; they just want to pay for the end product.
That's correct.
It's something that
it's changing now. But
it's definitely changing. But I also think that the thinking part is probably reserved for the McKinseys and the Bains and the Accenture and all of that, who are now getting into the doing part as well, which is interesting. But I think that people were okay with paying them for thinking, but not
Correct.
agencies for thinking, which is
Correct.
something we're still educating people
So
about.
in
also.
our pitch, our second slide in a pitch deck, when we go and meet anybody for the first time, we have 3 things that come up. We're not an ad agency, we're not a web development studio, and we're not McKinsey.
Okay.
The 3 things that
Okay.
we identify and we say. And people are like, what on earth do you mean? Why are we sitting here with you? Again, take back to hybrid thinking. So we say, we define who we are not, and by that we define who we are.
Okay.
So we say, we will thought partner with you. We will identify what you need with you and help you to craft what you call a typical RFQ. So what it is, write the brief with them. And as we craft the brief with them, say there's a 10-point brief. All right, we'll say 3 of these, our collective will do. 7 of these, we will help you find the best. You know who the best are? The McKinsey, the web studio, the digital marketing agency,
The
and so on
yellow.
and so forth. There you go.
Of course.
So across the board.
Yeah.
Right. So it is taking a different approach to solving a problem.
Yeah.
It's coming on the client side or being with the ideation
Okay.
rather than coming up with the execution. So it's coming with
Okay.
the ideation.
So it's
and
more
then
like
taking it forward.
strategy.
Yeah.
Helping with strategy.
Yeah.
Identifying what's to be done
Right.
usually is your first step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is it-
Super important.
What do you want to achieve? What is it that we should do? Then let's get to doing it.
Yeah, but shouldn't the marketing and product and tech department of a company define their strategy? Why do they need? I'm playing the devil's advocate here. I know why they need it, but I would like to hear from you as well. Why do they need Xische to come in and work on the strategy? Why can't the internal team do it themselves?
It's a very good question. We get asked this question from a different perspective as well. Why Xische to begin with? Why should we associate with you or anybody else? And our response to that is we understand 3 things really well. And that's by practice. We're practitioners. We're not consultants, typical consultants who say, you should do this in business. Because
And
they've never done
I'll
that in
wash
their
my hands
lives.
off,
No, they've
yeah.
never done it themselves. They've had a corporate job and they tell you this is how you should be a startup. This is how you should grind. This is how you should do
Right.
this. Right? So the 3 things are business, technology, and design.
Okay.
We live and breathe these things.
Okay.
So we run our own businesses. We use technology as a means. So we use it, irrespective of what the technology of today is or of tomorrow emerging tech, and design. Design is not just visual design, but design thinking.
Right.
The combination of these 3, taking it back to hybrid again, the intersection of technology, business, and design is where we are, is
Okay.
what we do. And that's where we'll play. So when somebody needs to define something, you said marketing department, product, it could be any department.
Yeah.
They usually already siloed. The
Yeah.
fact that they're departments, that they're already siloed. Now that department, as a product department, will only think about it from their perspective.
Features, yeah.
Features or whatever it is, product is king. For marketing is what sells the product.
Yeah.
For operational support, IT, they're like, because of us, everything is working.
Yeah.
So we're coming in the intersection of all of these 3. So we
Yeah.
can talk the language of all 3. So we'll make friends with product, with marketing, with strategy. We'll come in and say, let's craft something which works for you, and for you. And then take it forward.
I mean, usually that's the executive role in a company, right?
Correct,
Like
yes. Yeah.
how to marry these
Correct.
different departments and synergize and make something
That is correct,
powerful
yes.
out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the people that we work with, our first step is induction, not the other way around. We
Okay.
work with a paint manufacturer, we work with a cinema chain, we work with whoever, a government entity. We tell them, take me on board right now and my team as if we've just joined you and induct us in your company.
Okay.
Okay.
Take me through where the coffee machine is, where the washroom is, where do I get lunch. I understand the culture, I understand the dynamics. When I say our team understands the dynamics, and we understand their product like they do, from all different perspectives.
Sure.
So I
Okay.
will become an employee from a marketing department, then from a strategy department, then from something else, then across the
Okay.
board.
Yeah.
We understand the product. I mean,
Okay.
can you imagine from my side, just being, blessed to be able to do that gives me so much knowledge in all of these domains.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You
for
learn
sure.
so much just
For
by
sure.
being inducted. It's like
Yeah.
I'm getting a job with every client.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, I'm learning, and then I can
Yeah.
help them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're learning
Take it
about a new
forward.
industry, new ways of working. Yeah. Okay, so you started back in 99
That's
as a
correct.
new media company.
That's correct.
What happened next?
Sure, I'll take you through the journey of 20 years
Yeah.
in possibly like a couple of minutes.
Okay.
And I'll fast forward quite a bit. All right. So 99, 2000, real estate was still not yet ready for
Right.
our office space. It's Dubai Media City. Our building only was ready in 2001. So till then, we had the ability and the option of going and taking an office somewhere else and operating out of there. We didn't even know how we're going to pay. So my brother, which is my co-founder, sorry, on this, is the chief executive. We set this up, took it forward. We didn't know how we're going to pay bills. We didn't know how we're going to pay the rent or the trade license renewal. But we just ventured out into the market. Right? And it goes contrary to what I said, like you need to have a plan. Yeah. You need to have a direction.
Right.
You need to know where you want to get to and figure out how to get there. So we started and we sold. We were salespeople. We're just selling the idea of the internet, selling the idea of whatever it was, right? Luckily, we got investment in the first year of our business.
Okay.
All right? Now, you'll see how the story goes, full circle and how we go, okay, this is wrong. It's a learning. We got investment and we grew from 2 people to 50 people. We haven't finished 12 months yet.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God.
Right? We went from no office.
And in 99.
In about 2000.
Yeah.
So from no employees to about 40 to 50 employees.
Wow.
Had an HR department, had legal department, had accounting department. We were sitting with 0 office space to 10,000 square feet of office space.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're delivering, we're executing, we're learning, we're living the life. We had an exit then, which was a terrible exit.
Okay.
All right. And it was, for the lack of a better word, it was a slap across our faces. And it was the best learning that we could have had that early on in our careers.
Okay.
To not go after the money, not the funding. It was incidental that it came through, but we took that. We said, let's take this. And the moment you get funded, you lose your company. You're no longer the captain of the ship. You no longer can take it the way you want to. You cannot concentrate on building culture. You can't do this. You have to be answerable and responsible to your shareholders, investors, and whatever.
Sure.
Okay.
Right?
So how much of the company did you lose when you got investment?
Without divulging too much information, we managed to keep the name, the IP, the clients, and everything else. And essentially what they wanted was a department. So for us to operationalize the business and give them the business so that the company takes over that as a department.
Okay.
The irony in that. So they took it as a department. So we continued. So we had a rebirth. But this was, again, I'm very grateful.
So you exited one section of your business, basically?
No, essentially, the core, the entire thing, apart from the 2 co-founders.
Oh,
everything else was gone.
But you had the name.
But you kept the name.
We managed to retain the name and the clients. The clients still we continue to service them.
But you had no people.
So you lost your team, basically.
Exactly.
Okay.
But then anyway, we then moved forward, set up again. Now our building is ready in Dubai Media City. We come back in there. We spent 15 years over there.
Okay.
15, yeah. We spent 15 years in Dubai Media City in different buildings as we grew. But then let me just tell you the way we evolved from new media, trying to sell internet, based services or solutions, websites, and then it went into a more interactive-based websites and digital solutions to interactive CDs. We realized that there was an opportunity for getting into related businesses. And it is at this point we realized that we're opportunists. We see an opportunity and we want to make sure we're there to grab that opportunity. We got into 3D animation.
Okay.
This is the time where Dubai's real estate market was about to boom.
Right.
Emaar, Nakhil, Dubai Properties, Hydro Properties, name it. They all needed to show what Dubai would be in the future. No buildings were ready then. So we got onto the 3D animation space. We started creating all visualizations that you saw for Emaar, for Hydro Properties, Dubai Properties, for Nakhil, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Right? And from there, we'd always sit with them and say, listen, this is what we're doing, 3D animation for you, but we would like to do something else for you. So let us help you rewrite the brief. And let us help you create and curate your sales center experience.
Okay.
So at one point, we had worked with every single real estate developer in that year, 2006, right, to create their sales center experience. Now, by that, I mean what temperature, what music, what's your experience when you walk in, who greets you, how do you close the sale?
Seriously?
So it was the entire
So
thing.
you shifted from 3D animation to customer journey?
Customer journey. There you go.
And back then.
And the same we did for an automotive company over here. What is the music that's played when you walk in? What's the temperature? How do you greet them? What do you give them? Do you give kahwa? You give them coffee?
Smell.
The entire.
So how did you guys get the expertise to do this?
As cliche as it may sound, but Steve Jobs had said something which was, when you're looking for somebody who's really good at something, why do you go out looking somewhere else? Why is it that we cannot be the best in the world at doing something?
Okay.
Why is it there only one right way of doing something? Why can't we experiment and create the right way or the best way of doing something?
Sure.
For us, it was learning. Learning
Okay.
was our...
So you were
So
not
you-
qualified for the job.
so you winged
learned
it.
on the job.
Nobody is ever qualified for anything.
I absolutely agree with
Ever.
you. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, in the last 4 to 5 years, when people say I've done my master's, I've done my bachelor's, I've done my specialization, how many years is that? 4, 3, 2. By the time you finish your fourth year, that's become obsolete. Whatever you
Absolutely.
started.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I think
If not the principle or the core, the technology, the means of it is already
Forget
obsolete.
obsolete. Like I remember when I graduated in IT in college. Like by the time I graduated, whatever I learned was already 10 years obsolete.
There you go.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
so forget about being current. It's like you have to learn everything from scratch.
Yeah, but I actually love that about technology because my background was traditional advertising. I loved radio and outdoor and blah, blah, blah. And I saw the tide turning and I was like, okay, I want to move into digital. I went to my bosses and I said, I want to head the digital department. I had no knowledge of digital.
Right.
I mean, except for being a user, of course. But I moved into and I became head of digital department. And the first day I was like, oh shit, like we need to fix something on the back end of a Drupal website. You do a little bit of research, call the husband who's a tech guy, helps me out. Okay, fine. You need to be resourceful in order to figure out technology. Then the next thing that happened was Flash websites went out. And I was like, this is amazing because now the playing field is leveled. Now I don't know more or less than the other person over there. Perfect. We can all learn together.
Yeah.
That's what I love
for
about
sure.
technology. But yeah, anyway, go
No,
on.
for sure.
Yeah. So you were working on the customer experience.
Right.
and-
So let me now move forward with this. 3D animation. Then it went into building management, which is how do you get efficiency within buildings. Mind you, this is
Okay.
2006. How do you take a DMAC property building and identify where they can conserve electricity?
So
conserve
BMI
energy
systems.
completely.
Okay.
We went into real estate itself.
Okay.
So, in terms of a brokerage.
Okay.
Brokerage. And
But
then
I
it-
think everyone was doing real estate
Correct.
then. Yeah.
Yeah. But then again, from a tech point of view, how do you
Okay.
get it on your app,
Okay.
mobile, and then you can sell immediately online?
Okay.
Because back in the day, you had no restrictions of your land department or so on and so
Sure.
forth. You
Yeah.
could sell and buy literally over a phone call.
Yeah, in 15 minutes. Yeah.
So again, it was a tech angle to it.
Okay.
And how do you create that? While we were doing all of this, we realized that we were doing with our clients the thinking and the strategy more than the deployment, and we were charging for the deployment.
Okay.
We were charging, what was the invoice? The invoice would be web design. What did we do? We literally created the entire back-end support system for example, a government entity over here, or for a cinema chain. What do we charge for? Web design.
Right.
Or web development. Came a point in 2007, we were like, okay, enough of this. We like literally shoot ourselves in the foot and say, we're not going to do web design anymore. So we're not an agency, we're not this, we're not that.
Okay.
We will provide you this service and we will charge you for our time.
Right.
And we've already had a good 10 years worth, right? To be able to say, listen, we have delivered, we have lived, we've gone through it ourselves, we've fallen and we've gotten up, we can help you. Because we understand your problem.
Yeah.
So we'll help you. And at that point, we shifted focus to, okay, fine, we are your thought partners and we will charge you for our time and our ideas and not the output. So at this point, we started consolidating the 3D animation business, this and that. So Xische is the collective.
Okay.
Xische Co is the brand and marketing strategy.
Okay.
Xische business strategy or Xische advisory is your traditional value chain mapping and so on and so forth, balanced scorecard, traditional consulting. Then we've got our own independent research and publishing arm.
Okay.
Where we do so much research for
Is
our
this
clients.
backstory?
No, backstory is one of the things that come out of the reports.
Okay.
So our research arm essentially does a lot of research for our clients.
Okay.
At the same time, we're sitting on so much research that we want to be able to comment it on ourselves, by ourselves, and our opinion, as opposed to from a paid client perspective, right? So
Sure.
it's not a sponsored outreach or
It's not
outtake.
work or...
So if we said, no, this actually sucks, we'll tell you this actually sucks. We publish it ourselves independently. So we publish long form journals and reports on smart cities, artificial intelligence, blockchain, science of happiness, and so on and so forth. We partner with a lot of people, with government entities, both local and regional and international. So that's our research arm and publishing arm. The next is our master classes. Realize that we're sitting on so much knowledge, all right, and we're getting consulting engagements. And we're doing the same thing again and again and again for so many of our clients. We decided to turn it on its head and say, we will invite you to come in and we'll teach you the science of happiness.
Okay.
Or blockchain. Not development and not the nitty-gritty micro level.
But macro level.
Yeah.
What are the use cases? How do you deploy it? We're talking about CIO, CTO of a company, 60 plus.
Who's not experienced in this
Not necessarily in
sector.
the coding part of it, but has enough experience and knowledge to be able to understand how to use it.
How to implement it in
But
their field.
take it from me, they will be the first people not to ask anybody or admit that they don't know what blockchain is.
Yeah.
That's where we come in. We have a one-on-one relationship with them where we can actually educate them on what it is.
So
Yeah.
these master classes are one-on-one. They're not
No,
like
no.
workshops.
When I say one-on-one, it's organizational. So essentially, it is
Okay.
with the leadership teams.
Okay.
It is not training. It is
Okay.
master classes. So it is
Okay.
practitioner-led.
Okay.
We sit with you and we
Okay.
take you through conceptual
Okay.
understanding of it, and then we show you live use cases. Usually, from there, you have a consulting gig that comes out of it
Yeah.
Because
So
they
it's a
need-
way for you to
as well.
upsell.
Of course,
Yeah,
as well.
okay,
There's-
cross
So I think that's a misconception in the tech world. Like when you're considered an IT person, like people
Correct.
think you should know everything about IT, But there's so many specializations and the field is so vast. Like so exactly as you said, somebody who's been in IT for 20 years probably
Yeah.
won't understand what blockchain is at all. And will require that kind of education or at least a top level overview,
Yeah.
So it was a consolidation of different companies. At one point, we were sitting on 9 different incorporations, different companies across different free zones and onshore, offshore. We decided to consolidate everything. We decided to create our shared services. So as a group, we give shared services to everybody. Now, there's something which happened while doing all of this. The failures, the ups and the downs, and the consolidation, understanding how things work. It was being able to go through that journey yourself, to be able to show up every single day and learn. You don't learn just by saying, I want to learn. You have to be there every single day, right? Trying to do things that are beyond your comfort level, beyond what you know, and then to figure out what works for you. Today, if I sit here with my partner 20 years into it and saying, okay, fine, blessing of God, we've reached here, is because a lot of things worked in our favor. A lot of people helped us. A lot of people taught us. And we made a lot of mistakes to be able to get here.
Right.
Yeah. And it is those that I'm most passionate about sharing with people. So we mentor a lot of startups. We mentor a lot of new companies or individuals, college graduates, college dropouts, school dropouts who want to go ahead and do something. Our advice is not your traditional and typical advice. It is what we have seen and what we have done and what we were blessed with.
I haven't really had mentors in my company, but I've had so many conversations with other entrepreneurs, which I find quite similar to mentorship. When you share these experiences with other people, you learn so much so fast.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's one of the things that have come out of this podcast, which we didn't expect, because it's almost like it's not just the conversation that we have during recording, but it is the conversations that we have before and after, where it's almost like HR has its own board of advisors, which are the hosts that we've had on the show.
Yeah.
So I think people who have been through the grind, and of course are passionate about their business and everything, I think they have a responsibility to give back and educate people, because there's so much crap about entrepreneurship out there as well, So our whole philosophy with the podcast is to have real conversations with real entrepreneurs, and you have a point of view about entrepreneurship as well. So let's hear it.
I think it starts with the word.
Okay.
Entrepreneur.
You don't like the word?
No, I don't. It's not that I don't like anything. All right. My thing is how a word is defined versus how a word is understood in pop culture in general
Perceived.
terms.
Sure.
All right. Entrepreneur is almost. Yeah. So don't quote me on this. I'm saying it's almost like a title. Would you go around saying I am a very good person? Or would you want somebody to tell about you that they are a nice person or a good person?
Yeah.
So an entrepreneur is something that's bestowed upon you for your qualities of what you do. What are you? You are a person trying to solve a problem.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have a purpose. You have a mission. And I am in this field or this field or this field. I am a father. I am this. I am that. I am different things. All right? But I am not an entrepreneur. If you call me an entrepreneur, thank you.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
So by defining that now, how I see an entrepreneurship, anybody who has the balls to get up and like leave everything aside and start something, respect.
Yeah.
You've got to be a little crazy. You've got to be extremely hopeful. There's a romantic notion associated with this, that you think that this is going to work and I will make a difference. Whether it's in myself, for my wallet, for my family, or whatever it is, you are crazy to believe that this will work. So respect, and a serious respect. But then what happens is that particular thing is the only thing which people are left with. Okay, so I've taken the first step. I'm done. That's it. I'm an entrepreneur. Instagram, social media, this is my life. This is what's the hashtag which is very popular right now? Today's office. Or,
Yeah. And it's like a coffee
today's
shop.
office?
And it's a coffee shop, and you have
or,
perfectly
beach.
manicured nails, like with a laptop and your cappuccino or your
I'm so
acai bowl
off
and
Instagram.
stuff.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So that is what people are being exposed to, those who are coming into this. Right? And that's the ones that that's the one we want to reach out to, those people who are interested in this life. But what's happening over there, and this is what gets to me, is that is what's attracting them. Not
The lifestyle, the perceived lifestyle.
Exactly. The perceived lifestyle is what's attracting them because it seems so sexy. All right? But the hard work that goes into it, what I mentioned about showing up every single day, no matter how bad it is entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
All right? That's a startup. That's the grind. You put that in, then you can be called or bestowed upon
The title of
That
an
title.
entrepreneur.
Sure.
Yeah? So you have to give it that respect.
Yeah.
And you have to earn that respect. Now, what happens usually is people like, so I'm going to drop out of college because so-and-so dropped out of college. I'm going to do this because so-and-so did it. And this is the quickest way. Why should I go through 4 years of college? Which I said, don't go through 4 years of college, but you have to do something else to be able to get there. Put in the time, learn, be humble enough to learn rather than the other way around. And then they start. And then you see them fail over and over and over again. Unfortunately, the second aspect of this, failure has been glamorized.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, but it's taken a different turn now. Fail fast, fail cheap, fail good.
Fail often.
I live by that, all right? But live by its truest definition and by its truest meaning. Not, I've set up 7 companies, I failed.
Yeah.
Where did you succeed?
Yeah.
Not in a company. What did you learn? Are you doing the same thing again and again? Most likely, yes.
Yeah.
Right? We all do that, but we've got to learn and then evolve.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if you see those who want to become entrepreneurs or those who want to start something up, they've got this misconceived notion. All right. Then those who've already begun and who've shut down and start something
They're
else.
proud of all of this.
They're proud of it. They still don't get the idea behind it.
Yeah.
Start small. Let it take time. I'm sitting here talking to you after 20 years of what I was blessed with.
Yeah.
Not 2 years.
Yeah.
Not 2 months.
Yeah.
I try, whatever I can with my influence, however little it may be, to try to fix that notion. Talking to people, listen, maybe this is not for you and it's not a bad thing. All right? Maybe you work on the product and get somebody on to take care of the business. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I feel it works so well with my partner, is because he played a role and I played a role, which is very distinctly different. And it was trying to work to our strengths and avoiding the weaknesses, so that I can listen, I'm weak at this, you take this on, you're weak at this, I'll take it on, which is playing on strengths to take it forward. So I'm like, okay, fine. I can't sell, you can sell, you do this. You can't do this, but I can do this. And that's how you build something. My end goal and our end goal as Xische is to build something that's sustainable.
Right.
It's not from an exit point of view, and that's not the starting point. We start because we want to start, not because we have an end in sight.
Yeah.
All right?
Sure.
We start because we love it. I start because I love operationalizing them. I love to see how the child grows from first week to the first year to the 10th year. The evolution, and I get to mold and direct that journey. So that's what I love. So essentially, it's to help people go through that, do that, expect that, as opposed to
And
I
the
do
exit
this,
will come.
the exit may not come.
Yeah, I mean,
You stumble upon your purpose. That's what will happen. Anybody who comes and tells you in day one, like, I know what my purpose is, or even know what my passion is lying.
Yeah.
Your passion changes every day.
Yeah.
Purpose should not change every day.
Yeah.
Right? But still, even to identify that will take you a lifetime.
Sure. You know, funny enough, like something kind of like that happened to me. Like when I started a jar car, like we were first trying to think of ways in which we could market ourselves that would be different from any other car rental company. So we saw nobody else was doing video well, right? You know? So we thought, okay, we'll do a content strategy and we will go hard on video content.
Right.
And our initial plan was to like hire a bunch of video, like a big video team, and get all these cars out, get fancy videos of them, and put them up. But then, because of budgetary constraints, I started doing it myself, and eventually that led to a passion, which was YouTube.
There you
know,
go. There you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the reason we are able to do this podcast now as well.
There are two things you could have done. One is what you did, and the other is like, this is too expensive. I can't do this. Screw this. Let's do something else.
Or burn money.
Or get money from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And try to use that money and try to do it and get something. What happened with what you did? You demonstrated to yourself and to your partner that you have, the passion. You will still put in the time and the effort, even if it's not going to show immediate results. Second, you're willing and you're open and you learn something.
Yeah, absolutely.
You become an expert in that field, in that domain now.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the amount of learning, like initially when I was planning to start this business, I had two choices. I was like, either, okay, should I take this amount of money that I have and go and do my master's in, technology and stuff like that? Or should I start a business? So we were talking about that. And I was like, I think like if I start the business, or at least if I invest in a business, at least that's something that could potentially give me returns faster, or I'll at least learn something practical,
for sure,
versus going to do my master's. So I mean, that's the call.
Respect. Respect there.
When we were discussing it, because Ijarkar, like he had a partner on board at the time, and we were discussing about investing money in it, and him working as a CTO. Now he's the CEO of the company. We were like, okay, worst case scenario, it doesn't work out. We'll consider that he has spent that money on his MBA, on his master's.
Did you see that mindset?
And it's been much better than
that mindset is what is for me success. It's not looking at like short-term investment loss and profit. It's looking at long-term. This was an investment. You literally took the loss, and the way you perceive that is, this is my investment in the future. We never look at our P&L, so essentially our books are not 12 months.
Okay.
They're not even 24 months. They're not even 36 months. They're what I want it to be.
Okay.
All right? I've had a major loss. If I were to sit and look at it 12 months and go, oh, crap, it's a terrible year. But who says 12 months is your only metric of comparing?
Success.
Yeah. Why should you only compare a 12-month period? Why not a 10-year period? What happened in 10 years? With all the crazy lows and the insane highs, where did you end up with? Look at it that way. So that mindset helps you do that. And that's what we need to educate and tell people, or like speak as much as possible to tell people who are trying to start up right now. Don't look at it as end of first year, am I making money? Be realistic about, can you feed yourself? And your responsibility. Some people can't do it. They're not in the position in life or the time in their lives that maybe they're supporting a family, they need to get a house. They're not in a privileged economy where housing, healthcare, food is taken care of. For example, here. It's not that everything is taken care of. You don't have a job, you don't have money, you cannot be here. You have to get out and do somewhere else. But still, for those who can,
for those who have a little bit of a safety net,
think of it long term. Now, let me tell you something about long term. What gives me the most pleasure is walking into Satwa, going into that barber shop, which has been around more than I have been here. How on earth did that person survive 35 years in business?
Without any VCs or anything.
Beyond that, in terms of rising costs, he still charges 5 to 10 dirhams for a haircut or a shave.
Seriously?
All right. How does he still survive and grow? And how has he survived till date? That is the most commendable thing ever. If we can you take people, that's another thing, but you take people and you show them, look, they have managed to survive.
Yeah.
And how they survived, there's a secret over there. We need to identify what that secret is.
So did you find out what this barbershop secret is?
It is literally no end in sight. It is, I am going to do this and I'm going to do this well.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
it.
I thought they give like some amazing shave or something like that.
No,
I thought it
doesn't
was
have
like
to be.
rent control or something.
It's about, barbershop is one example.
It's failing is not
Yeah.
an option.
Barbershop is one example. Cedar Emirates, your blinds company.
Yeah.
They've been around and they've been leaders in what they do for over 30 years. How?
Yeah.
No. You mean the guys that do curtains and
Correct,
blinds?
yes.
So they were our client. Actually, they've been in business for 125 years.
Correct, yeah. That goes on beyond with Syria and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, yeah. And family business and stuff.
It's still
No,
family business.
Still a family business, right?
No, but I think when a company is like 30 years old, they've built something in, like, they obviously got past their first 5 to 10 years, which are the hardest years probably, and they've built up a certain base, they've built up a clientele, they've got a reputation. It's a little bit easier to survive than for a company that's just like a year or two old.
You'll be
I
surprised.
don't know.
You'll be surprised.
I mean, people move around so much in Dubai. So
You're not just talking about the buyer.
yeah, I know, but we're talking about a barbershop in Dubai. So I feel like the loyal clientele is probably not a...
No, it's your location or you've been around.
There are multiple factors.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to identify what have they done that have allowed them to survive and grow and continue growing.
Sure.
Right? You've got to figure that out, and that's the challenge. That's why it's so exciting.
Yeah.
If everybody could get that answer, they would be around for 30 years.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's that when you see local homegrown businesses which have grown. Spinneys is a brilliant example.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a lot to do with
Spinneys is not a homegrown brand, is
it's
it?
a homegrown brand.
Really?
Really?
Emirati-owned homegrown brand, which is where we are today. It competes in the same lines of Lulu or Carrefour even, or any of the other international players which are here.
Waitrose.
And it's a logo. Waitrose. It's bigger than Waitrose over here.
I thought Spinneys was an international brand. Really?
Yeah.
It's local brand.
Even I
local
didn't know
brand.
that.
No way.
It's a local brand. So how do they do it? That's what we've got to identify.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got to get to the young people who
Right.
are trying to start something new, who are trying to get into it. Do what they did and you will get that success and you will get that growth. Not do what Instagram tells you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not hating
Instagram
on Instagram.
is a lie.
I'm not hating on Instagram.
No,
Yeah.
but
But as I say, right? Anyone can start something,
yeah.
but who can continue it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who
so
has the tenacity to...
You can decide to
offline
get a
you
pet.
were- yeah.
But do you have it in you to, take care of a pet?
Yeah.
You can tell somebody that you love them and you want to get married to them, and then can you make the relationship work?
Yeah.
Usually, it is more exciting during courtship. During the courting phase.
The starting phase was exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what we have to do is
What are you
make.
saying?
What we have to do is
10
make.
years in.
Wow, 10 years.
No,
Yeah,
but I know
yeah,
what you
almost
mean.
10
Like the first month of when you decide, okay, I'm going
Be
to start
very
this new
careful.
business. When you say I'm going to start this new business, it's super exciting because you're like trying to think of the name and the logo, and you're
Right.
like, you're romanticizing it. But like a year and a half and 2 years in, are you still going to feel that passion
Yeah.
to like continue? I think that's where a lot of people fail.
Yeah, I don't know about the passion, but I think that people forget how hard the work that you need to put in as well, like,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I like that you and your brother are very vocal about your thoughts on AI, blockchain, blah, 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 but also startups and entrepreneurship. I saw you did something recently with kids.
Correct.
Can you tell us about that?
Sure. Just before I tell you that, like, why do we do that? I think there's like a couple of cycles that happen in life, or circles. Sorry, not cycles. Circles in life. One of them is gratitude. If you are, again, it's mindset. I am where I am not because of what I did, but because of what happened to me. Change your mindset. Yeah, it's
Right.
not me who did it, but it's what's around me.
To be
Yeah?
a little bit humble about.
Not a little bit.
Okay.
Be as humble as you possibly can.
Okay.
All right? As you're humble, why does someone mentor somebody? Help them. The moment you mentor somebody, you almost feel like you've cleansed your heart, you washed it.
Yeah.
You feel better. So there's there's something for you as well.
Yeah,
You feel better. The moment you feel better, you want to do it more. You do it more, you help more people. More people you help, you feel even better. And it continues. So it's a brilliant cycle, right?
I mean, this podcast does it for us. I mean, like we get messages. The other day, somebody sent me a LinkedIn message saying they just binged all our episodes and it's so inspirational and stuff like that. It's like, okay, cool, man. Like, you're making a difference in somebody's life. It's nice.
Difference in somebody's life.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it is. So with kids, we realize that I'm talking about startup, dropping out of school. Our story is that my partner dropped out of 3 colleges. He hasn't even finished. He's not even a graduate. And he set this up and he continued and so on and so forth. That worked for him, not necessarily for every kid. So I'm not going to walk into a college or a school and say, drop out and do this. But it is those people that we need to target. They're the future. And this happened to me after I became a parent. I was like, we've got this responsibility. Yeah? And if you are blessed with something, make use of that blessing and pass it on.
Yeah.
So the kids, what we did was, it was with the Dubai Institute of Design and Innovation, which is in the same building that we're in Dubai, DIDI, in D3, Dubai Design District. My daughter is homeschooled, so we homeschool our kids.
Okay. Okay.
That's
a whole other
2-hour
conversation. Okay.
But as part of the homeschooling group association, they had participated in this as well, which was a design thinking program.
Okay.
And they had to come in and present to lots of live judges. So you had like Dubai Mall, you had the Environmental Protection Agency of the UAE, you had Landmark Group, and they give them real life problems.
Okay.
And they got these kids all the way from like 10 to 18 to come and use a design thinking methodology to
solve
come up with the problem. So they already identify the problem, come up with a solution, and then use that methodology to go ahead and take it forward. We do, as part of Xische Academy, the master classes, where we take people through what design thinking is, prototyping, lean prototyping. That's what the principles of fail quick, fail cheap, fail fast.
Like a lean startup philosophy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we, as practitioners, that's what we do with our businesses as well. So we teach people that. So we thought, let's get the kids in. So we got kids across the board to come in. We showed them how do you use a structured approach to go about solving a problem.
Okay.
So that's one of the courses that we did across all of these kids. And the questions that you get are amazing.
Wow.
We have our question answer sessions more than the actual presentation or the learning sessions. It's because they ask such amazing questions. And with those questions, you're like, wow, somebody's asking that question. For me, it's but obvious.
Yeah.
But the moment somebody asks and you articulate the answer, sometimes you can't even articulate the answer properly. But you do, and then you realize that so many people just understood that.
Okay.
So that was the first, which was design thinking. The second thing that we do is storytelling as a course. So we bring people in and we say, what is the science behind storytelling? How do you tell a story? And we use Pixar as a very good example of how does Pixar tell such emotional, heartfelt, riveting stories which stay with you and you're glued through the entire movie.
Yeah,
You're
seriously.
watching a talking car.
No, forget about
and you're
the
still in
actual
it.
full-length movie. The
Shorts.
short films that they have before.
Yeah.
I remember back when we were still collecting DVDs, I collected a DVD of the 30 short films of Pixar or something. Because it's incredible. Because a lot of them are silent, and it's just music, and it's incredible.
They're
are
able to
very
convey,
good
right?
storytellers.
And then we feel that without being able to convey your message, you can't get anywhere in life.
Sure.
Yeah.
You need to convey as a company to your customer. You need to convey as colleagues, as friends, as a family, to your employees, to your bosses. You have to convey. Communication is the key, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're trying to show them how to go ahead and communicate, how to tell a story.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's called the art of storytelling.
That's cool. Like, so we had Philip Bahushi on the podcast. He's the founder of Magnet.
Yeah.
And like he runs a course as well on raising capital and things like that. So he was saying one of the biggest things that he sees in startups that do succeed is the ability to storytell. Like the founders who have that capability usually can rally people to their cause, which in turn, brings so many things. Building
For
your
sure.
team, raising capital, so many other things.
No, for sure.
Sales.
Yeah.
Sales.
Sales, yeah.
But then identify if that's not your strong suit. It's fine.
Yeah.
Find a storyteller.
Find a storyteller or
Yeah.
groom somebody or, whatever it is. Learn it.
Sure.
Fail.
Yeah.
Fail at this. This is
Yeah.
where you fail. Keep failing.
Yeah.
Google pitched 300 times. 302nd time is when they got to their investment.
Really?
So they were terrible at storytelling. If you look at the pitch deck, it was terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
300 times is not a joke.
Okay. Wow. I did
So
not know that.
That failing is good. 'Cause
Yeah,
you're trying. You're going
if-
on and on and on and on.
Yeah. No, but I think that's the reason why Apple is very successful, right? Like, I think that design, of course, was a big part of it, but also the way that they would sell things. I'm going to put a million songs in your pocket, 1,000 songs,
1,000 songs in your pocket.
Okay. A little ambitious.
I didn't think I can
Are
have a
there a
million
million
songs on my
songs?
computer now.
Whatever, you know what I was talking about.
Yeah. So with the kids, it was coming back to that cycle where you can see that you're making an impact. You can see their faces and their eyes going all over the place because their brains
Brain
are
is
expanding.
processing.
Literally.
Ears are moving. Yeah.
And for us, that's an amazing feeling. So you feel great. And you do more, and you do more, and there's more people learning from you.
Yeah.
And then you just want to do more of it, and then more of it, and then more of it.
And there's something to it with karma also, right? You're giving back. It's going to come back in some way, aside from the satisfaction that you feel
True.
as well.
No doubt about it.
That is absolutely true, though.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Every time I put something out there, somehow or the other, it comes back to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm a
Eventually.
firm believer of that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
You do good, good comes. If not now,
Yeah.
later. If not later, even later.
Sure.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
It will be there.
Yeah.
So to wind things up, if you had any advice for new founders or people who are looking into this life of being an entrepreneur, what would you suggest? Or
All
what
right.
would you recommend?
This is going to be a heavy answer, right?
Sure.
Yeah, we're ready.
Whoever's listening to it,
Brace
watching
yourself.
it, take it with a pinch of salt. Hate me if you have to on particular things. But this is just one point of view, which is my point of view.
Sure.
This is not for everybody. All right, you have to be self-aware. Okay, that if you've started, that this may not be for you. You may be a 9-to-5 person, which is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, respect to those people as well. You may have a person who is not interested in the grind and the hustle, right, and wants to do something which is a corporate job. Fine, it's all good. So step one, or the first thing is, it's not for everybody, and it's okay. It doesn't make them less or more than anybody else. All right. The second thing would be, when you decide to start, do it for the right reasons, not purpose and not passion yet. Do it for the right reasons, and the reasons should be, right? I want to make a difference in something. If it's not in someone's lives, in something. You want to solve a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so make sure you know what you're doing or why you're doing it. For me, it is operationalizing things. It's making sure they function. It's when I talk to anybody, how can I make an OS out of it, an operating system out of it? That's what drives me.
That's what I like to building systems around things.
So it could be how I do my laundry at home. I want to make an OS around it. Like set up a company. I want to build an OS around it. The next one, people and relationships. You cannot do it on your own. You cannot do it on your own. I cannot tell that enough to people. Everybody has their own strong points and weak points. It is successful when you find that marriage, all right, of people, teams, or whatever it is. Yeah? And that can only happen with, number one, trust. Number two is communication.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
And number three is ego. When you're looking for a partner, so that's my next point now. When you're looking for a partner, all right, find a partner that doesn't have similar ego like you, all right, because you need to balance it out.
Yeah.
Be it in a marriage, be it in a partnership, whatever kind of partnership. The ego, one person has more, one person has less. All right, find a person that you trust with your life. You have to. If it means you have to wait another year to find that person, wait. Don't start something unless you found somebody that you trust with your eyes closed. We're not talking about 2 years. We're talking about 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Right.
All right. The next is, don't go after money. And don't think money is the only thing that'll help you start. I'll tell you this funny story. My partner, all right, set up this company with a total of 12,500 dirhams.
No way.
That is the only money. And he says so with the exact change because there were coins involved. Is how he says it.
Oh my
It was like
God.
1256 or something like that. Yeah, or 12,526, something like
Does
that.
that buy you a trade license?
That bought us our trade license.
Okay.
Well, maybe back in
I think it was a bit cheaper back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but keep this in mind. The idea behind the story is to tell you that we took that money and that's how we grew our revenue and grew and paid for everything else that has happened in the last 20 years.
Right.
We've been fiercely independent with no partners and no investment and no debt till date.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And that's because of our approach to it. We're like, we will use this and we will grow. Don't grow beyond your means. Don't extend, don't overreach.
Yeah.
Do it within your reach. It'll take longer.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. Let it take longer. Move forward with it. And then it is think of the long term.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't think I'm getting in to exit. I don't come from
Yeah.
let me fundraise, let me get all the money in the world. Now I've got this money, I'll get people. And I'm burning through cash.
Yeah.
Burning through cash to do what? To sustain a building, the rent, the pool table, and the people's salaries, and so on and so forth, and then the Instagram and this and that to make sure it looks perfect and pretty. But what about your product?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, what about your core? So don't go after that.
Yeah.
That's, again, it's not a bad thing to go after money. Yeah, but the moment you go after money, the way
You
you
lose
approach this
sight.
game
Yeah.
is different. Not wrong or not better or not worse. It's different.
Sure.
Yeah, you look at the Microsoft, the Apple, the Google. They grew because they got funded.
Mm-hmm.
But before they got funded, they'd already put in a lot of work and a
Yeah.
lot of time.
Sure.
All right, they already had.
Yeah.
All right, let's take Apple for example. All right, they grew and became what they became. I'm talking about the rebirth.
Yeah.
Not their start.
After the Apple II.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. No, I'm talking about in after the iPod.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Steve Jobs was a visionary leader. Who was the one who was running the show? Tim Cook.
Mm-hmm.
For every Steve Jobs, find yourself a Tim Cook.
Yeah.
Right.
For every person who is a talker, a
And
visionary.
Steve Wozniak before.
Yeah, again, so you
Yeah.
need a partnership. You have to have a marriage made, all right? Like in heaven, literally, for this to work. So for every Steve Jobs, find a Tim Cook. Tim Cook was taking care of how things were working and making it profitable, while Steve Jobs was giving direction and taking it forward. So as you're starting out, look at that right from the onset. Saying,
Yeah.
okay, I want to start this. I can't do it on my own. Let me find the right people.
Yeah.
And then take it forward.
Yeah, and as per your previous point as well, I'll always look at a business, even if it's a startup, as eventually being a profitable venture. Otherwise, I will not do it.
Yeah.
It should be able to self-sustain. Like there are a lot of people who I know there are those Amazons and those outliers that are Facebook and stuff that are not
Yeah.
profitable for a long time and eventually
And Uber.
Uber and stuff who eventually exit big. But for me personally, I'd rather not.
Yeah.
To me, it hurts.
Yeah.
You see, Netflix is still losing money.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
To see that Spotify, I don't know the future of Spotify
Yeah.
is. They've just
Yeah.
got into podcasts now
Yeah.
to be able to survive somehow. They're not going to make money anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of these people, Amazon, 20 years later, they broke even, right? Because they diversified. But majority of these successes that we see today, people are trying to emulate and say, my plan is exit. My plan is the Ferrari.
Yeah.
My plan is crash and burn.
Yeah.
It's not, let's continue growing with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I mean, but there is some. I must say that funding there's a major value to it as well.
Yeah.
Like there are some businesses like if you don't scale fast, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Correct.
Then you will burn.
Correct.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
you will
And if-
burn.
if
So
that's
it's
the
a
business-
double-edged sword, man.
Oh, no. It's like if that's the business
Yeah.
and that's what you need, go for it.
Right.
Go for it. I mean, the world does this really well. They make a corporation out of even the smallest things like Walmart.
Yeah.
One of the biggest brands in the world is because of funding.
Yeah.
It's because of, fundraising. It's because of IPOs. It's because of whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a way. But a lot of these companies are hollow
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
how they actually are in terms of they have crazy revenue and they have crazy operating costs.
Yeah.
The profit margins might be that low.
Yeah.
Airlines, for example, they make 2%.
Yeah.
They buy airplanes, for
Yeah.
heaven's sake.
Yeah.
They make 2%.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's it.
A rental car company will make more profit
That's
in terms
why
of
I'm-
margin than an airline would.
That's
With
why
scale.
most airline companies fail. Like they'll have something that Like Kingfisher Airlines, for example, in
That's
India.
true.
Like they if they have one bad season or something wrong that happens, one plane crash or something like that, it's over because
That's
they operate on such
crazy.
small margins.
So
Wow.
fundraising is brilliant for those businesses that need it, but not every startup needs to fundraise.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you don't start with.
And-
you do it
yeah.
at a point where, okay, I need to fundraise now to scale, and that's how I'll use this money.
Should ask yourself
not
a
for
question.
the pool table.
Exactly. You should ask yourself a question. Do I need that much money now? Like, even if you go fundraise, can I do with 100,000 US versus 2 million? If the answer is yes, take the 100,000, not the 2 million. Well, human nature, what are we going to do?
It will also dilute you less if you take 100,000 versus
No,
2 million.
and I think people make the mistake as well. They'll say, I need 2 million. But when you ask them, why do you need 2 million? They'll be like, oh, because we need it.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
if you
Because
want
I like
fundraise,
that
go
though.
ahead.
because they want a cushion for 3 years. That's
Yeah.
That kind of business in terms of fundraising and going scale, going in global, you need to have a very solid foundation. You need to have a solid product. You need to have a solid idea. You need to have a solid team. You need to have a CEO and a partner and this and that. You need to have all those basics covered first.
And you need to
Then
show
you
traction.
fundraise.
And you need to show traction, like good traction, in order to be able to fundraise.
Yeah, otherwise you'll get diluted pretty fast.
Okay,
Yeah.
now let's just look at the other side. You don't necessarily have, which is most people, don't have the right partner yet, don't have the right product yet, don't have the product fit with the market and so on and
yeah.
so forth. You don't have, and that's majority of the people who are trying to start out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's be real. That's majority of the people. They don't have it figured out yet. Forget the product. Who your own team is. Like you get up and take the trash out, they'll be like, no, I don't want to take the trash out. You take the trash out. Like they haven't even figured that out yet. Why are you fundraising? If you've got that figured out, Mark Zuckerberg had it figured out, good on him to do this. Those people who did, they already had something solid.
Yeah.
If you have something solid, go for it. I'm not averse to fundraising. We're fundraising.
Okay.
But for a certain thing.
Right.
For a certain business, for a certain type of business. Yeah?
Sure.
Not this business.
Not every business.
Not every
every
business.
business.
Not every person.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it is at the end of the day. Nothing is wrong. Do it in the way it works for that. But there are a few things that we can learn from each other.
All right, perfect. On that note, I think we'll wind up this podcast. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for being on here, sharing all your advice. It was really interesting, your story
Yeah.
of how you built Xische. So this podcast is available on YouTube if you guys want to watch the video version of it. It's also available on all the podcast platforms. So we're on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, you name it.
Stitcher.
We're on the Stitcher.
Does anybody listen on Stitcher?
I think we have one
One,
listener on
yeah,
Stitcher.
yeah.
Like
By
from the
yourself?
statistics, I can see it.
Yeah.
So if you can leave us a rating, that would be awesome. It really helps us spread the word. And if you're watching this on YouTube, leave us a like and leave us a comment. We'll try to answer your questions in the comments if possible.
Yeah.
And
we leave links to Xische, to Wisam. You're happy for people to contact you on LinkedIn,
By all
Instagram,
means. By all
everything?
means.
Okay, great.
Awesome.